More on this disturbing trend of insecurity in the country, let's speak with a counter-terrorism expert, David Otto, who joins us live via Zoom from the United Kingdom. Well, are you in any way surprised that at this time ISWAP is coming out to make a bold statement claiming responsibility for that attack?
I'm not surprised at all. Of course, this is a win-win for the so-called Islamic State of West Africa province. You know, it's a very great opportunity for them to raise their flag and claim responsibility for this attack. But when you look at the video, very amateurish. I mean, it doesn't sound or look like the type of, very organized ISWAP video that we've seen in recent times. But irrespective of that, I think, it's a great opportunity for the security agencies to, again, look at, how this, was managed, to be executed. What is very clear is that whoever carried out the attack, which has been claimed by ISWAP, must have gone through a thorough process of planning and preparation. And again, that could have included, inmates within the Kuje prison, those outside the prison, and perhaps in some instances, there could be, some counterintelligence that could have come from some officials that are rogue within the prison service. So I think there has to be a thorough investigation, but I doubt that, when attacks of this nature involving groups like the Islamic State are carried out, the level of investigation stops very, very much closer to where the incident happens. Because, of course, how much investigation can you do when a terrorist organization claims responsibility?
Brings us to another question about the counter-terrorism approach of the country. Earlier today, the Chief of Army Staff mentioned, just as you have inferred, that these attackers must have camped in the community before they carried this out. What does this speak of the efforts of the administration to tackle terrorism?
I think what one has to be very clear is that, most of these threats are very asymmetric in nature. And that means these terrorist groups or criminals or bandits or whoever you want to call them will have some level of, leverage within local communities. That is not to say that all members of the communities are, in collusion with these bandits. But that is to say that you have members of the communities who perhaps, see no other option. Because, of course, if you then don't side with the terrorists, then you have no other protection that, can be provided to you by the law enforcement, within the country. So it's a matter of trust and fear. And in most cases, the local community would, yield towards the group that they fear most. So I think, looking at the situation that, perhaps there is some level of failures in terms of the counter-terrorism aspect. I think, the government has to continuously, establish, a community liaison strategy whereby people can feel that, not just feel, but people can rightfully enjoy some level of safety within those communities. Otherwise, I have to say, we would see situations where terrorists would use their coercion strategies, to hide within communities, camp within communities, and then people will have no option but to remain quiet. They will see something, but they will always say nothing. So I think the government has to look into that aspect of, community liaison, because of course, without the community, terrorists will not exist. They need the communities to shield themselves within.
Indeed, the authorities are calling for intelligence supply from members of the community. We'll see how that goes. There are concerns, real worries about the proximity of Kuje to the seat of power. It's about 39 kilometers away. Are you worried? Do you share the same concerns?
I think, everyone shares the same concern. It's not just about the fact that it is Kuje, but it's about the fact that it's a prison that, would house some of the most dangerous criminals, and then not to talk of terrorists, that have been imprisoned for years and have no hope of, coming out, through the criminal justice system. So what we see here is, some kind of, terror 2.0, because of course, the entire community has to be worried about the fact that these men who are at large, will possibly be looking for money. They will be in search of food. They want some level of medication. They will be looking for means of transportation. They will be even looking for shelter. So the public has to be very, very alert, and exercise some very high level of vigilance, around Abuja city, around the surrounding towns, because of course, these terrorists will be very desperate indeed. And, this has to be a red alert, if I have to say, within the entire FCT and the environmental and the surrounding states. It's something that the government has to continuously engage the population, because of course, the population will be the weakest target, for these men who are at large.
All right, David Otto is a counterterrorism expert. Thank you very much for sharing these insights with us at this time.
Thank you.